Hi, Gemini. Welcome to March. Whoa. Okay, so straight out the gate, there's some stuff to say. They're saying like all of the hard work that you're putting into something, totally worth it. And there are little signs here and there along the way, but the biggest of signs you can't really see yet, which is why they wanted to tell you that. Okay, so that being said, let's see what's up with you right now. Where you at? They're saying, from an emotional standpoint, all of the things that you're feeling and experiencing, you're not crazy to feel that way. So that's good. They're saying the biggest thing for you is to be showing love to others. And this is not like saying, hey, I love you. It's like doing nice things for other people, giving your partner a back rub or buying a nice gift for somebody, something thoughtful. They're saying that this is going to create bonds and feelings of togetherness, which is super important for you in the month of March. So what's maybe tainting any feelings of happiness that you would have right now? And they're saying it's this energy currently that's going on of expansion. So, any sort of negative situation, it just seems like it snowballs. But conversely, anything positive that's going on is also going to snowball. So remembering that. Now, when it comes to feelings of confidence or a lack of confidence, which some of you are feeling, you're maybe uncertain, unsure, that will just continue to snowball. So that's something we need to remedy. As well as this energy of confusion, like maybe we don't know what's most important to us right now. And so the more that we focus on our confusion and what we don't have all the answers for, the more that that's going to snowball and become an issue for us. So what is it that you think can kind of combat this and make you happy this month? And they're saying, honestly, you're kind of up until this new moon starts, you're going to be sitting there and you're kind of looking and going, okay, what are my challenges? And are they worth it or not? And, what is the best strategy here? But you're very balanced in the way that you do this. You have a good grip on the difference between, your emotions and real life. And, okay, what am I thinking versus what is practical? How do I feel versus, the practical realities of things? What is attainable and what isn't? And so that's actually working in your favor. So how is your perception true here? And they're saying that, honestly, you're being very straightforward in your communication with other people, even if that makes you feel somewhat vulnerable. And you're sort of allowing yourself to be open to criticisms of other people and using that effectively as feedback in order to maybe better your plans moving forward. However, you're right that certain problems or issues in our lives don't always have like a happily ever end after kind of ending. So, for example, maybe you had a business, okay? And now you're looking at this and you're going, is this still the right business for me? I don't really know. Should I close it? Should I sell it? Should I change it somehow? And you're kind of standing there and you're looking out and you're going, okay, so like practical realities versus how I feel. And, is this something that even actually makes me happy anymore? And so this doesn't necessarily have to be work related to like owning your own business. This could be about relationships. It could be about any area in your life. And so you're kind of sitting there and you're like, I don't really know what to do. And so you're not taking action on that. And is that the right way to handle it? So let's see. And they say that the answer here is somewhat variable for everybody. And the reason being is because that depends on your perception of whether this is something that brings you joy and happiness and love or not. So if you're feeling challenged to kind of say, yeah, you know what, this is something that brings me a lot of joy, happiness, and love in my life, then you're also going to be challenged to move this forward in a positive direction. They're saying this is going to be challenging, like especially if it's regarding business or money, material things, wealth. It's going to be challenging to have enough. But then conversely, like if this is about something regarding relationships, it's going to be hard to, maybe move things along in the relationship the way that you want them to. They're saying it's going to be challenging for you to embrace any sort of lucky energies that might come about, especially in a Mercury retrograde, if you haven't determined how you actually feel about something and whether or not it brings you joy and contentment and happiness. So a good way to frame this is, what would it take for me to feel content in this situation? And if the answer seems extreme, you might want to kind of reevaluate and maybe discard that from your life. So they're saying, for some of you, it's just a matter of having the right circumstances and waiting for those to present. But everybody's situation is different. And so then for the others of you, it's more about just communicating with the right people, sending the right email at the right time to the right guy. So how is your perception false here about, what it is that you think is going to bring you joy or happiness this month? And they go, well, honestly, for the most part, you've got your head on straight, but unless you're thinking that to continue doing what you're doing is going to work, no, a change does have to be made, because things will only become more unstable over time, like moving into April, if you don't change things. For many of you, this is a negative thing. It's like, okay, well, if I don't change this thing, then I can just continue to expect more of the same, and it's not what I want. But having this idea that somehow things are going to be magically different is just completely inaccurate, and it's a toxic way of thinking, is what they're saying. So what will actually make you happy this month? And they say that, doing this in considering what's actually going to make you happy in a deeply emotional level, on your own, removed from other people, you're not going to find that solution. That the answer isn't there. That your answer involves other people this month, you're somewhat relying on other people for your happiness, that other people are contributing to your level of satisfaction or joy and contentment this month more than usual. What's actually going to make you happy is putting yourself first and remembering all of your positive qualities, that you are typically a very happy and joyful person, and just kind of trying to remember that about yourself and then showing that to the world. They're saying some of you have been showing a different side of yourself, and that's going to bite you in the butt a little bit. Okay? Now, what kind of forces are at play outside of your control in favor of your happiness? And they're saying that, there's really not any need for you to come up with a brilliant new scheme or anything like that. You've already done the perception shifts that you need to, and that, your head is basically on pretty straight. You have an awareness. It's just about going, oh, okay, let me apply this to life. Now, what's going on outside of your control that maybe is working against your happiness? And they're saying it's waiting for an opportunity to come in, for someone to reach out to you and somehow make things better in one area of your life or not, and then kind of not getting that information, which has something to do with retrograde, emails get lost sometimes, but somebody else's failure to communicate in an effective way or to do something that they're expected to do is creating challenges for you. And so that might make you pretty it lowers your level of happiness or contentedness in the month of March. So what's going to bring you luck this month? And they say your crystal of the month is aqua aura. Isn't that beautiful? I love aqua auras. So anyway, these correlate to the throat chakra. These are helpful for you to discuss emotional issues with other people. It helps you to kind of clear and cleanse the room. So this is awesome if you're about to have a discussion with somebody, to put it in the room, because it will take any shitty energy from you, but also from them, and eliminate it. And then it encourages, sincerity. It clears out your own aura. And there's, like I said, it creates this environment of harmonious interactions among people and really positive and harmonious communication between people. And so if you have to deal with somebody and you're afraid it's going to turn into an argument, perfect stone to have with you. It encourages people to find the good in situations, and then kind of figure out what your own talents and inherent abilities are, and then use those to their highest potential for the highest good for yourself as well as the community at large. This one will protect you against psychic negativity or other people's bad vibes, right? Negative intrusions and stuff like that. And then it activates your third eye. So any sort of insight that you're hoping to get from spirit this month to help you make these decisions is going to be a little bit easier to flow into your life. Should you have utilize an aqua aura crystal. And then it also helps you to like kind of get, clarity of mind and stuff like that, increase concentration, but then also clairaudient messages and then clairvoyance. So there's a lot of things else that these stones do. You can look it up on my website if you want. You can also order one from there if you're interested in that, or just get one from your local rock shop, but that's your crystal of the month. And then the other thing, so if you get one from me though, it comes with a playlist of videos on how to use crystals, and then all this information like how to care for your specific crystal, which angels associate to it, which chakra, blah, blah, blah. So your lucky day of the month is the 31st of March. So, waiting all the way till the very end, that's your lucky day. And then your power color is apricot. And so the cool thing about this color is that we are not limited to just using this as like a color cleansing energy, that we would, bring it in from the top of our head, moving all the way through our body to kind of cleanse and clear things. Or wearing apricot, you can eat it, or you can light an apricot scented candle or something like that to really harness the energy of this power color. And so with this one, the number here is 20. So it's about creating balance that expands. So that sounds good, right? Now, what it says is rejoicing and laughing is the theme of this one. So it takes any burdensome or heavy energy and it turns it into joy. So you could be carrying around some like bullshit energy that surfaces, that comes to light because of the Mercury retrograde. And then kind of the way out of it is just giggling and laughing, having a good time. It gets rid of any sort of irrational fears or anxieties that you might have that are maybe somewhat limiting you. So this brings more joy and lightness basically into your life. So the affirmation with this one is, please awaken the joy, laughter, and spontaneity of my heart and soul. I love it. Okay, so coming back to the other parts of our reading, what energies do you need to bring more into your life in order to kind of foster this environment of joy and happiness, contentedness? And they're saying, understanding that kind of sitting here in pain and in sorrow when things go wrong, and just like wallowing in that, like saying, oh, I'm just like sacrificing, like, myself, I'm just like, surrendering to, the bad things that happen to me because I can't control them in the universe. Okay, that's true. You can't control things, right? You can't control when it rains or what the weather is, but you can protect yourself against it, right? You could wear a raincoat. You could wear a jacket. And so they're saying like, this is not really like good self-care. If you're like, oh, well, I'm just going to have to like, I guess that's it, too bad. Advocating for kind of what you need and solving your problems like right away is going to be important. For example, they say, oh, if you don't, set things up with the state to pay your child support, we're going to arrest you. And they, oh, I guess that's it. I'm going to get arrested. That's my destiny. Like, fuck it, whatever. Might as well commit a few crimes today. No. Just make the fucking phone call and tell them, well, I don't have any money right now. I just got laid off from my job, but I do have, $100 coming in unemployment, so I will give you 20. At least you're making a payment plan so you don't get arrested, because if you're in jail, you definitely can't pay your child support. I mean, that's just like a silly example, but I mean, it is an example. That's my point. Okay, so you don't just say, okay, fuck it. Like, this is just how things are. No. You make a different choice. You protect yourself. And so Aqua Aura might help you. Kind of seeing the humor in shitty situations will help you with the apricot energy. So that's how we're going to move through that, okay? Now, once you feel, any moments of joy or happiness in your life this month, how are you going to sustain that? What is the best information here? And they say making a contract with yourself, like kind of making a deal with yourself that you're going to do more of that. So, perhaps you go to a comedy show and it is just so much fun and you feel like all of this release and joy and laughter. Then you say, you know what, I'm going to go here once a month. And you just like kind of pre-plan it in your calendar that this is a date with myself or with my partner or with my best friend that I'm going to do on a routine. I'm creating a new routine or system for myself based on the things that bring me joy. I personally love mochas like so much. It is worth it to me to spend $300 a month on mochas because they bring me that much joy and happiness. So I have my budget set to the side for that, and I put it into my little Caribou app on my phone, and then when it's gone at the end of the month, then it's gone. You know, I might have a few days that I go without a mocha, but I make a commitment that I'm going to treat myself right in the morning, because if I am going to feel joy and contentment and happiness by having that mocha every single morning, it's setting the tone for my whole day. So it's making a promise to yourself based on the things that you notice bring you joy throughout the month of March. Okay, so March overall in a nutshell for you guys, they're saying like financially, this is maybe not like anything different. It might be kind of a slow month for you. They're saying like as far as, you know, kind of day-to-day life goes, not much changes. But on an emotional level, you kind of are forced to, you know, with like a Mercury retrograde, we kind of deal with the ups and downs, but we're really realizing this time in this retrograde, wow, I've come a long way from where I used to be. I've learned a lot of lessons in my short life, and I am like remarkably peaceful and calm despite all of my trauma and shit like that. And then this is also a month of taking action based on the things that we know that we can control. And we have to understand that we might not see the results of those actions immediately, but it's about planning and taking them. And so, you know, making those deals with ourselves is really important. So love and light, and I'll see you in April.